Her ego wants you to chase her, but her biology needs to chase you. When you chase a woman, you feed her ego. When she chases you, she feeds her biology in the form of hypergamy. Hypergamy, for people that don't know, is something inside of a woman that is designed for evolution, and in the form of women are constantly looking to have children with the most strongest, intelligent kind of men that are suited for survival. And the difference here is that a lot of guys that have problems with women when they chase, it's that feeding your ego is very short-lived. Your ego it's like a temporary high. It comes in the form of dopamine. And yeah, she might feel special. She might enjoy the validation and the attention that you give her, but it doesn't fulfill her biology, her hypergamous nature. The only thing that really fulfills a woman's hypergamous nature is to feel that the man that she's seeking is wanted by others. The man that she's seeking is need to be worked for, because when something is given to somebody so easily, they start to doubt it and they lose its value. When a woman really works to lock down a guy, her hypergamous nature takes a rest, because her hypergamous nature will kind of have this story of, well, he must be of value because like he just didn't give it to me right off the back. He must be of value because I had to take him from her. He must be of value because all these other women wanted him, but he still chose me. And, it's very important to understand this dynamic, because regardless of who you're seeking, you do have to make sure that her hypergamous nature is satisfied. Stop satisfying her ego. Focus on satisfying her hypergamous nature, and you will get always a better version of that woman. As long as her hypergamous nature is not being satisfied, she's always going to be looking and thinking and entertaining other options. This is the main reason why, men become passport bros and stay passport bros, because when you go with your American income, say you make between 50 to 100K, that's what the average guy makes in America, right? As soon as you go to a third world country, as soon as you go to Brazil, as soon as you go to Mexico, as soon as you go to, Indonesia, Asia, Eastern Europe, Ukraine, wherever it is, as soon as you go to these places, you instantly become the 0.1%, right? They work all year to make what you make in 1 month. When you go to these countries, you instantly satisfy the hypergamous nature of pretty much 80% of the available women. You get what I'm trying to say? Now, here's the kick side. When you bring them to your country, right, her hypergamous nature gets reactivated. A lot of guys that import their wives always have problems. Why? Because they're not high value enough in their own country. So when the woman comes here, her hypergamous nature gets activated. But when she's living back where she lives, she starts comparing, her best friend's husband, who's like a mechanic in whatever, Egypt, or, her best friend's husband who is an electrician in Mexico, and consistently is satisfied and feels like you are her best option. And a lot of problems that men get in life is when their woman no longer feels like you are their best option. It's very, very, very ruthless. There are other ways to satisfy her hypergamous nature, but you have to understand that, even if you are, for example, say you play for the Los Angeles Lakers, right? So LeBron James is on the Los Angeles Lakers. You say you're the worst player on the Los Angeles Lakers and you have a girlfriend or you have girls that you like. When those girls come around the whole Los Angeles Lakers team, all of a sudden their hypergamous nature is not satisfied just by having you, because they have all these other players to compare themselves with. They're comparing you to LeBron James. They're comparing you to, I don't watch basketball anymore. I couldn't tell you. But there's a hierarchy in there. You will be her best option if, she's just surrounded by drywallers and, bricklayers. But depending on which rooms you're in, women's hypergamous nature is going to completely reset and default to the new standards and settings. And it's very important for guys to understand hypergamy and not be naive to it, because I find that the guys that are naive to hypergamy get taken to the cleaners the hardest, because a lot of women out here are ruthless and cutthroat, and at a certain point in their life, when they aren't able to fulfill their hypergamous needs, because the ones that they want don't take them seriously, only view them for sexual access and not for marriage, because getting guys is easy for a woman, but getting a husband is very difficult for women. When they are no longer able to fulfill their hypergamous nature, they start to look for a hardworking donkey. They start to go down their backup plans. And a lot of you guys are plan Bs and plan Cs. And a lot of reason why women do not like passport bros, for example, is because those guys that are going there, a lot of the times, those are their plan Bs and their plan Cs. If they can't get that plan A, the guy who is genetically superior, has high social status and also is financially very, very secure, they eventually will start to settle, but they settle way later in life. Guys are willing to settle a lot earlier than women are. And it's important to understand hypergamy, because if you were not, getting sexual access to these women when you were younger, you have to see it for what it is when they circle back later on in life. So, don't sit there and pat yourself on the back for being a stepdad, because a lot of times you are just that, useful donkey that the woman is now relying on out of survival. And, when women can't get their hypergamous needs met and filled, they become very resentful and they take it out on the guy that they're with, because if you are her plan B, every time she sees you, she sees a reflection of her own failure. You know what I mean? She sees a reflection of the fact that she couldn't secure the high value man that she actually wanted and she thought she was going to get. The high value man that social media brainwashed her and all her other average friends kind of cheerleaded her and brainwashed her into thinking she was going to get. Because these guys are extremely rare. And the thing is with these guys see the worst in women. These guys have sex with other people's wives, other people's girlfriends, and they see how these women act. These women, right after getting fucked, they will pick up their phone, call their boyfriends, tell the guy, shh, don't say nothing. I've done this. Like, I have been the guy who is watching another girl call her boyfriend and call her husband. Mostly when I was traveling in other countries. When I was in Asia, when I was in South America, these things happened a lot. And when you see that, you become very jaded to serious relationships in marriage, because how some of the most innocent looking girls are all guilty of doing these things behind their husbands and boyfriends' back, because it all depends on that ovulation cycle. Once that ovulation cycle hits, something just takes over these women and they become attracted to a different type of guy. But guys, I had 1,000 followers. Thank you. I love all you guys. I'm trying to get to 10,000. Like, follow, and watch another one. Nav Sultan, Sultanic Thoughts.